Good morning and happy Sunday to you. I wanted to just pop in and make a quick video about some of the stories that I've been posting have been different soups, and yesterday I posted an adrenal fatigue shake in my stories, and so I wanted to just give you all kind of a brief explanation as to what those recipes are, and hopefully by the time that I post this video I'll also have taken some time to sit down and type up those recipes for you in the musings section of the website. So I wanted to start with just showing this book by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. It's the Gut and Psychology Syndrome, otherwise known as GAPS book. This is a really great book to purchase, and you can find it all over for really cheap, like $15 or less. If you're interested in the GAPS protocol, and the book can go into great detail about this. It's not really a diet, it's more of a protocol for sealing and healing the gut. I don't know if y'all saw that, but there's a bunch of wasps over here in the garden. I'm in the front garden, so if you have any recommendations on how to get wasps out of your garden, please let me know, because they come around every year and I haven't figured out anything that's not toxic to the plants that will kill the wasps or just chase them away. The chickens won't eat them, so the wasps are a problem around this time of year. But anyway, the Gut and Psychology Syndrome is a protocol for sealing and healing the gut lining. So when you hear things like leaky gut syndrome, if the gut is leaking undigested food like into the bloodstream, then that's going to cause different issues. It could even be like autoimmune issues where the body starts to kind of attack itself because it's seeing those undigested food particles as being foreign and dangerous to the system. I'm really not an expert on these things, but I have experimented with my own diet, like we've talked about before when I was talking about different organ meats. So initially this year I've been on the carnivore diet, so I've just been eating meat and things that come from animals, with a few cheat days here and there where I'm eating tacos, which is not cool for me. But that diet of only eating like meat and eggs and cheese and butter, those kind of things that come from animals, that's really quite taxing to my nervous system because I love to cook so much and there's such an emotional aspect to eating. So when I am restricted like that, then it tends to be emotionally difficult for me, although physically I see these really great results. So for the past probably 13 or 14 days, I've slowly gone back to the Gut and Psychology Syndrome protocol because I know that that way of eating is also beneficial to my system, but it has more of that comfort aspect that I feel like my nervous system craves when I've been so restricted. So going onto the GAPS protocol and being able to have like soups and stocks and soft vegetables is really soothing to my nervous system. So before, years ago, when I was doing the Gut and Psychology Syndrome, I just jumped right into the full GAPS diet. And this time, since my diet was so restricted, I started on what's called the introduction diet to GAPS, where you slowly start like stage 1, stage 2. There's 6 stages before you get to the full GAPS diet, where you slowly incorporate more things into your diet. So if you're interested in what those stages are or what the Gut and Psychology Syndrome is, it's really just like, in a nutshell, if I could try to sum it up, I would say that it's really about healing the environment within the gut and nourishing that gut-brain connection. So when the gut is healthy and healed, things like brain fog, depression, different conditions start to respond to that. And what I find a lot in my own experience, I can't speak from like the experience of autism or ADHD or schizophrenia or these kind of things that are actually being treated through the gut and psychology syndrome, because I haven't experienced those things. But as far as like mental clarity and ease and elimination of any anxiety and healing skin issues. The skin is really where I see a lot of the results from the GAPS protocol. And when my diet, I talked about this in the other video, but when my diet is not on point, when I'm eating a bunch of things that I know I shouldn't be eating, and that's different for all of us, then it really manifests on the surface of my skin, where I'll get these. As I get older, I've noticed that more, but really itchy, scratchy, burning. Even if I'm not seeing a rash on my skin, I might feel this like sense of itchiness underneath the skin, even though it hasn't shown up on the surface yet. So that's one way that I know that I need to clean up my diet. Also, my skin will start to break out. My face will have a lot of irritation and inflammation, and also even if I'm not like picking at my skin, I tend to get a lot of hyperpigmentation where the skin shows up dark spots on the skin. So I've been really trying to heal that, because I don't like seeing that on my face, because not because of like necessarily vanity or anything like that, but when I see things showing up on my skin, I know that it's got to be much worse below the surface for it to start manifesting like on my face and showing up in rashes, like on my arms and my creases, in like the crease of the elbow. I'll get really itchy rashes. And so that to me is a huge indication, not to mention just the overall discomfort of having itchy skin. I hate that. And so that's when I know that I really need to focus on what's going on, mainly in my gut. So when the gut is healthy and you have a lot of agni, which is that digestive fire, you're able to digest your food and assimilate the nutrients into the system. And then your body can use what it needs from the food that you're eating, and it can eliminate what it doesn't need. But when the gut is not working properly, oh, I've got a little battery on my phone. When the gut is not working properly and you can't digest your food and your agni, that digestive fire is low, then there's a lot of suffering that comes with that. So the gut and psychology syndrome is mainly about healing and sealing the gut. If there's any leakiness that's happening in the gut, to seal that up, to heal the gut lining, and to build that digestive fire so that you're able to benefit fully from the wonderful fresh organic food that you're eating, and your healthy meats and collagen and gelatin and marrow and all of these things that the human body benefits from. So the two things that I would say are really creating a profound experience for me right now are the adrenal fatigue shake, number one, and the Russian custard, number two. And I think that's mainly because they both have the main ingredient is raw egg yolks. And I know that it's weird to start thinking of consuming raw egg yolk, but I haven't had any problems with feeling sick from consuming the egg yolks raw. And I think that the reason why dishes like sunny side up eggs are so popular is because the part of the egg that needs to be fully cooked is the egg white. That's why you can have that sunny side up egg where the whites are fully cooked, but the yolk is still pretty raw. And you can dip your toast in the yolk and have a raw yolk. So when I am consuming the raw egg yolks, the whites are fully removed. And I'm also consuming pasture-raised egg yolks from our chickens. And so, which, if you listen, somebody's laying an egg right now. They make these sounds when they're laying their eggs. So I have been consuming 24 raw egg yolks every day. And I was doing the math the other day. I was on like day 10 or something. I was like, man, is it really possible that in the last 10 days I have actually truly eaten 240 raw egg yolks? That seems like insane, but I mean, it's true. So 24 a day. And then I've also been adding the raw egg yolks to some of my soups. Every time I have a bowl of soup, which is at least twice a day, I'll have a soup with a broth, and I drop a raw egg yolk in that as well, because the hot broth poaches the raw egg yolk, and so it's still raw, but it's kind of more solid on the outside. So if you add those in, then maybe it's like 26 raw egg yolks every day. And raw egg yolk is it's kind of like breast milk in the way that it's just easily, almost seamlessly absorbed into the gut lining. So that's one really cool thing about it, is that even if you have bloating or gas or leaky gut, then typically, generally speaking, raw egg yolk is easily digested. So that's one thing. But also, egg yolks contain it's like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K, choline, a bunch of different vitamins and magnesium and zinc. And so raw egg yolks are a superfood, really, in my opinion and in my experience. So I'm just a really big fan of getting as many raw egg yolks into my system as I can. And that adrenal fatigue shake, the ingredients are 12 raw egg yolks. I modified the recipe that I was initially using. I can't remember where it came from, but the way that I make it, because I'm trying to incorporate more fat into my diet, and so I'm using a lot more butter and a lot more, maybe a little bit more sour cream than the recipe initially called for, because my body is craving that fat. And when it's in a shake form, it's easy for me to drink without feeling nauseous, because sometimes in the past, it's been hard for me to digest oil. And so too much oil will make me nauseous. But I find that when I take it in a shake like this, it's easy. I haven't had any issues with it. So 12 raw pasture-raised egg yolks. I use 1 stick of organic pasture-raised butter. And I use salted butter, and I like to let my butter sit out and get soft at room temperature, because I don't like it when the shake has like these solid chunks of butter in it from cold butter. So I let my butter get completely soft before I make the shake. And then at least about 1 cup of organic sour cream. And I haven't started brewing my own sour cream, so I just use a really good organic one that I can find at the grocery store right now. Hopefully in the future I'll be making my own sour cream, but I am not right now. And then a small handful of organic blueberries. And the blueberries, the initial recipe that I found was calling for frozen blueberries, but I found that frozen blueberries would make my butter chunky, and I don't like that. So I use just refrigerated blueberries, soft butter, sour cream, and egg yolks. Blend it all up. So you throw the egg yolks in first. Blend them up. I use a Vitamix, but you could really use any blender. Blend up your egg yolks, and once those are well mixed, then I add in the stick of butter. Then I add in my sour cream, and last I add in my blueberries. Blend everything up real well, and then drink it all. And it makes the one I drink makes about 2 16-ounce, that's 32 ounces of a shake, and I drink that in the morning. Then later on in the day, maybe in the late afternoon, early evening, I probably get around to the Russian custard probably around 3 p.m. because I like to try to eat dinner by like 6 p.m. Otherwise, I feel like I don't have enough time to digest my food before I go to bed. And the Russian custard is 12 more pasture-raised raw egg yolks and a little spoonful of honey. You can use whatever honey. Raw honey is great. Local honey is great. And then I don't use the Vitamix for that. I use one of those handheld blenders. You could use a whisk. I don't use a whisk because I feel like it will take me a very long time to whisk it to the consistency that I want it. So with a hand blender, I turn it on high and I whisk that for about 5 minutes, and it gets really thick and creamy. And Russian custard is really a dessert. I mean, it's a custard, so it tastes like a pudding, a thick custard. And I do it in a mug because I found that when I was blending the Russian custard in a bowl, when it would start to get really thick, it would start to splatter all over the kitchen. And so to cut down on the mess, I just mix it right into a mug. And then I can really tell when it starts to kind of get thick enough to where the mug becomes more full, then it's done. And I just drink it. And it's really thick, so it's a really nice, slightly sweet, I don't use a lot of honey, so just slightly sweet kind of dessert in the middle of the day that's really good for you. I also like to, once it's done, I don't blend the sour cream into it, but once it's done, sometimes I'll add like a spoonful of sour cream to it, because then you have like the Russian custard around the sour cream, and it's a nice little treat in the center of the custard to have the sour cream. I love sour cream because it tastes like ice cream to me. So, and maybe that's because I don't have any sugar in my diet otherwise than that one spoonful of honey. So, those two things, the adrenal fatigue shake, which really, the first time that I drank that shake, I had a very profound experience. It just felt like somebody had swaddled, it's like the egg yolks had swaddled my nervous system. And because I have a tendency to just go. And that's one reason why it's good for me to take a break from teaching and to take a break from doing a lot of different offerings, because it's my nature to just go, and that's really taxing on the nervous system. And so drinking this adrenal fatigue shake every day, I've noticed that even when I felt like I was having downtime, or even when I'm taking time to meditate and I'm doing these things that I feel like are geared towards my self-care, I'm still in go mode. I'm still fired up and going hard all the time. And I'm just very pitta. I'm very fiery, and it can get to the point where it's like wildfire. And people ask me all the time, how do you get so much stuff done? How are you making all this and growing all of this and taking care of the animals? And it's because I'm on 1,000% most of the time. And that's not always good for me. That's not always healthy for me just to go. And even in my sleep, in my dreams, I feel like I'm working sometimes, like dream work. Like I'm working in the waking realm, and then when I'm dreaming, I'm also working. So it's just like never ending. And so what I'm finding with this adrenal fatigue shake is that it's really helping me to notice that I do need to incorporate things into my diet that can really nourish and nurture my adrenals and coat the nervous system so that I can go. But when I'm relaxing and when I'm resting, then I'm actually doing that instead of also working. So I feel great, and I don't feel frazzled or burned out, or I don't feel like a wildfire just like blazing all the time. And I can still have healthy, sustained energy, and it's just really good for me. So those two things, the adrenal fatigue shake and the Russian custard, because they contain so many raw egg yolks, have been at the top of my list of why the GAPS protocol is just so good for me right now. And that's why I've been posting those things to all of you. And many of you have reached out and said, oh, I think I need that shake, or I think that would be really good for me. And so I would love to hear your feedback. Once you try it, let me know what was your experience, because really the most profound, noticeable experience that I had was that first time that I drank it. And then after that, it's been just kind of a soothing ritual that I can do every day, that I know is gonna make my skin glow and make me feel like I know my capacity, but it's not always apparent in every day. It's like, you know, in the big macrocosm of things, yeah, I know that my capacity is infinite. But in the day-to-day, everyday activities of doing this and doing that, and being with my family and being with the animals and making and creating and gardening and all of the things, it's not always apparent that my capacity is infinite. And so a lot of that is just diet, truly. When my diet is on point and I'm eating foods that nourish my system and that are building up my gut, and my gut is healthy and my agni is strong, then I can recognize my capacity. And I don't feel overtaxed. I don't feel spread thin. And that's really important. It changes everything. It changes the perspective of life. And when you wake up and you feel nourished and you feel well rested and you feel capable, then truly the possibilities are infinite. They're endless. And so I will get those recipes, the soup recipes. You know, soup is a intuitive thing too, but I'll give you those recipes that I've been using here recently, and ways to use the skin and the cartilage from your meats in your soup without having like a big chunk of cartilage or a big chunk of skin. Ways that you can blend it up and add it back into your soup, so that you can consume those parts of the animal without being grossed out, because chewing a bunch of like boiled chicken skin is not necessarily very appealing to me. And so I'll tell you how to get those things into your diet without being grossed out. And really those raw egg yolks, no, I'm not just cracking the egg, taking the white out, and then just swallowing the egg yolk, because that would be just, I can't do that. It's too slimy and I don't want to do that. So I like to blend them up. And Russian custard is basically raw egg yolks, but because it's whipped into a custard, it doesn't taste like a funky egg yolk. It tastes like a really delicious custard. So I'll get the Russian custard recipe is already up, so I'll put a link to that, and I'll get that adrenal fatigue modified recipe that I've created onto the website as well, and some of those soup recipes. And definitely give me some feedback here. Try that adrenal fatigue shake and see if some people can't do the 12 raw egg yolks. Sometimes that's just too much at once. So if that's too much, try doing 3 or 4 and then work your way up. So yeah, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. And as always, I'm not here to convince anyone to do anything. I'm here to share my experience with you, and if it helps you, great. If you don't think that it's right for you, then don't do it. Use your discernment and decide what's best for you, what makes you feel great, and what brings vitality into your experience. So that's it for now, and I will check y'all later. Namaste.